You're watching Good Day on Fox 4.
And welcome back to Good Day. You know, one of the biggest fears of retired or soon retiring Americans is outliving their money. And Erin Botsford of Frisco, a financial planner, here to talk about that. She is author of the new book. It is called The Big Retirement Risk, Running Out of Money Before You Run Out of Time. So my parents in their mid-80s get Social Security. They fortunately don't depend solely on that. But a frightening number of Americans do depend on Social Security as their sole source of income.
Yeah. That's true, and that's why I wrote the book. I wanted to make sure that people realize, you know, what if Social Security is not there? People need to start, you know, figuring what they're going to do in case that doesn't happen, or in case they do something like means tested. So.
Now, your clients are probably a little more sophisticated than many of us are, but are you shocked to hear that many Americans, a big part of their financial plan for retirement is winning the lottery?
Well, actually, I've never heard that.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, and you know, what's interesting is I have a lot of clients who are sophisticated about a lot of things like how they built their widgets and how they built their business, but a lot of times they're not as sophisticated about their own personal finances. So that's one of the reasons I wrote the book. I wanted to make sure, I think, a couple of things that happened during the 2008 financial crisis. People, one, lost a lot of money. And second, they lost their confidence in their ability to actually plan for their own futures.
Sure.
And so I wanted to sort of reinstill that confidence that's been lost.
Well, let's talk about what you need to do, and it's some steps. One is honestly assess where you are right now, how much money you've got, and where you want to be. And the next thing is to look down the road and determine what your expenses are going to be. We know it's going to be lower. The question is, how much lower is it going to be when we reach our retirement years?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be lower. We hope not, because you're going to have to substitute.
Your needs are going to be lower.
Well, I mean, maybe not. For some people it is, but I think what I've tried to do is get people to sort of press reset on their thinking and go back to building what we call the house of security, and that's in the book. And basically, if you think about a house, there's a foundation, and we call those your needs. What is it that you really need? And you'd be surprised at what people think that they need. You know, I call those non-negotiable items, which would be things like housing and shelter, paying your electric bill.
Sure.
And you know what? It's interesting. When you just reassess what your needs are, a lot of times Social Security and things like that will pay for that. It's the fact that people think that, you know, dining out and country club memberships are actually needs, where things get a little confusing. So we just help people go up the hierarchy and say, okay, well, what are your wants?
Right.
You know, is internet and cable, is that a need or a want? I have people that think that manicure and pedicures are needs. So, you know, sometimes we have some interesting discussions about that.
Right. And you actually have to take a hard look, and sometimes that's very difficult to sit down and go through that process, but obviously you help them with that. And then the question is, you figure out how you're going to pay for everything, and then what if you have a gap? I mean, you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, I'm going to be $1,000 a month short, because I think a manicure and a pedicure is a need. And how do you fill in those gaps? Are you actually telling some people to go get another job, get a second job, or maybe if the non-working spouse should go back to work for the last few years of before retirement?
Well, you know, what we're doing is is laying out all the choices. And you know, work is really, you know, although it is a four-letter word, it's not necessarily a bad thing. What we do to tell people a lot of times is think about starting what I call a parallel career, where you do what you do mainly for money. You do the second thing because you love and you enjoy it. If it happens to pay some money, that's great too. So I think people need to open up to the world of what your options are, and work is not such a bad thing.
Yep, nope, no doubt about it. Erin Botsford, once again, author of The Big Retirement Risk, and we have a link to her and her company and to the book on myfoxdfw.com. Thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.
A couple of minutes away.